Hello YouTube, my name is Nick, and today I have some more metal stuff to show to you today. Got a good old smattering of stuff. I have CDs, cassettes, and vinyl to show you today. Been a hot minute since I've done this. I haven't been buying a whole lot recently, but there's like a billion new good albums coming out, so it's all coming. But that in-between period of the New Year's is kind of usually the slowest time for metal, it feels like, and then picks up again in the summer and fall months. But I got a pretty good amount here. Some new, some slightly older. A couple from last year, a bunch from this year. So I guess I'm going to start with the cassettes. Both of these cassettes are extremely vile, horrific, just not meant for human consumption bands. And this first one I'm going to talk to you about is a band I believe I've talked about before. I've been a big supporter of this band for a long time. I have all of their releases on physical format, and I just never got around to buying this when it came out, and now it's finally here, and I'm very glad that I have this. This is Human Annihilation by Ruin. Get a good view at that sweaty, crusty looking artwork there. It comes on this really, really nice, like, gold printed tape. I really like collecting tapes because they're very cheap to buy most of the time, and usually it's some kind of more obscure thing, and bands go a little more outside the box with the presentation of these. That the label does. But if you don't know Ruin, they are a very old school inspired death metal band in the sense that it is super violent and nasty, and the production is very raw. Not raw to where you can't like understand what's going on, but it's like old school worship meets like new school semi-brutality and high quality songwriting, in a sense where like it's not as sloppy as some of the old school death metal sounds. But this is one of the few front runners for old school death metal for me. Ultra horrific, violent musicianship and also imagery. I'm not going to show you what else came with this because I might get this video taken down or something. Just like violent stuff that does not need to be shown. If you want to find it, just go look it up. But yeah, go check out Ruin if you like that really authentic, disgusting old death metal. This is one of the few bands that I actually enjoy that does this style. So yeah, go check out Ruin. This next one is another one of those that took me by surprise. When I first saw this artwork, I knew it had to be something just terrible. Terrible in a sense where, like, people probably shouldn't listen to this, but people do it to torture themselves. But, I guess let me put it back together. But this is Miscarriage with Imminent Horror. Now, this is kind of a hard band to describe. As you can see, it's like DIY, cropped, photoshopped, just like gross, nasty, like almost grindy kind of artwork. But this is like horror noise mixed with like really slow, like death doom something or other. Lots of noise inspiration, lots of like layered vocaling. Like, probably the reason people wouldn't like this is the production and also the vocals. Super gross, nasty, vomitous, just inhuman sounding vocals that have been like mixed to death in a good way, because this album is very, very scary sounding. It has the world's smallest hype sticker, by the way. I stuck this on here because it's almost, you have to have really, really good eyesight to read that. But I'm going to read it to you. The bastard child of Pissgrave and primitive man on their Sentient Ruin debut album Miscarriage conceive the inconceivable and play savage, gore noise, extreme metal at half the speed, yielding an extreme sludge doom abomination of unseen horror and heaviness. I don't know if there's anything else I can say that would describe this band better. This is just one of those bands, if you're running out of things to find extreme, then go check out Miscarriage. I believe this is a new project. I have not looked into their real discography, but this is an intense and uncomfortable listen. The first few minutes of this album are going to give you the whole shebang for what you're going to get. This is very long, not going to lie. I believe it's at or a little over an hour. So be ready for physical illness from listening to that. So yeah, go check out Miscarriage. So now I'm going to do the CDs, and I'll save the vinyl for last because they're pretty cool. So this first one I have here is a band I have also been supporting a long time. This came out like at the very, very end of last year, so I almost consider this like a 2019 release, because I feel like this came out like the last week of December. But this is Sulphur Aeon with the Scythe of Cosmic Chaos. Now this, I feel like, is a very bold step for Sulphur Aeon. This has a lot of different songwriting techniques that I feel like they have not displayed before. There's like a lot more singing per se on this. Like, I don't know if I'd say singing, but like crooning, and obviously with Sulphur Aeon you get Cthulhu themed, really low end, heavy, like underwater feeling death metal that few bands pull off a low end like Sulphur Aeon does. It's just like a genuine heaviness without just making the guitars unpalatable. It also comes with this really cool foiled slipcase. You see it's indented. Very nice by Von Records. But I almost feel like this is for sure their best album. I feel like their last album was maybe very slightly disappointing, and their debut was obviously phenomenal. But this is a little different for the band, at least in my opinion. Just amazing, long songs. Cult of Starry Wisdom, Ugothian Spell, Sinister Sea Sabbath, The Oneronaut, one of my favorite songs. And one of my favorite songs of the year, if not my favorite song of the year, is Thou Shalt Not Speak His Name. That is a song to play at the highest volume you possibly can. So yeah, go check out Sulphur Aeon with the Scythe of Cosmic Chaos. Again, everything will always be in the description. Now this is a release by a now defunct label that I did not really know about until I saw a review on it on Metal Archives of all things. But this is exactly right up my alley. And this is a 4-way slam split entitled Rampage. So I believe the 4 bands on this are, yeah, Agonal Breathing, Gangrenectomy, Pit of Toxic Slime, and Tremotomy. This is almost certainly the best slam split I have ever heard. A very close second would be the Analepsy split. Or the Cranalepsy split, excuse me. The one with cranium and analepsy. But this is like pretty old school sounding slam. for the most part. There's a couple, I think there's 2 bands on here that kind of deviate a little bit. But the Agonal Breathing, the first piece of this split, is some of the best slam material I've heard in a really, really long time. Just honestly scary sounding slam, which is kind of hard for me to find anymore. It's a genre that I've been very vocal about being one of my favorite genres, and they do heavy and intimidating slams that just make you want to destroy your house. The low end and the bass drops from Agonal Breathing are just almost incomparable. It's one of those albums that you kind of just have to experience and try not to destroy your equipment listening to this. But also the gangrenectomy and the tracheotomy sides, amazing. This is very long. This is like 50 some minutes of just slam goodness. So if you like slam and you like older school sounding slam, then go check out this Rampage split. This next one I bought, it's more of a collection finishing item that I bought. I don't know why it took me so long to buy this, because this is essentially my favorite band in the whole world right now. But this is one that I just missed. This is the debut album from Malady entitled Plague Within. This is still on Apostasy Records, as they've always been. This is their debut. This is honestly a pretty short album compared to the rest of their discography, even the one song that they put out that's like 40-some minutes. I believe this is under 40 minutes, but even some of the songs on here are very long, like 10 minutes, something like that. But this is much more straight, like, progressive or experimental black metal. Much more black metal focused than the rest of their discography. I don't believe there's any saxophone on this album yet, but still expect the extreme catchiness, but also simplicity that you expect from Malady. I'm a big supporter of this band. This band can do no wrong. They have the best sound right now, in my opinion, for like a unique style, unique play style, unique presentation. All of their album artworks are very similar in style. You can immediately recognize it from the viney, tubular things connected to some dude. But anyways, I still really love this album. I don't know how this would sit in my like ranking of theirs, but this still has so many amazing songs, like especially the song 1979. Flippin' amazing. Just, if you haven't checked out Malady before from my recommendations, you gotta trust me. Just go check out Malady. So this next one I have here is one that I didn't even know came out, to be honest. This is a band I have all of their other albums by, actually. It just kind of went under my radar. This is At the Nexus of Stillborn Worlds by Zealotry. This is a Canadian band, I believe, with famous guitarist Phil Tugis, who was in First Fragment, and also a couple other bands, very renowned for his ability as well. This is a full band, it's not like it's just him. I'm just saying, like, he's a notable member. But this is kind of like old school tech death worship with a lot of amazing, like, 11 out of 10 solos. Just almost kind of shred influenced to a minor extent, but the production isn't too shiny. The vocals aren't too polished or new sounding. This does feel like an older tech death album, if you like that kind of style. It's not very flashy, but the solos will hit you in the right spots. So go check out Zealotry. This is maybe slightly different than their last album. I believe I talked about that one. That one had like a blue and black album cover. But yeah, go check out Zealotry, one of those bands that everyone should like because it's not too far out there, I guess. This next one is one that came out last year, and I did not find this until this year, and if I did find this last year, it would most certainly would have been on my end of the year list, because this is a very interesting band that I have not seen anyone else talk about. But this is, this is Crypteria with the self-titled debut, I believe. And by the way, I love the album artwork that they used. I'm not 100% sure if it's an original. I want to say it's not, but still, I mean, come on now. How gorgeous is that? This is another kind of like old school tech death band, except it's more aggressive sounding, much shorter songwriting, much more to the point. It's 12 songs, and it's just a little over 30 minutes or something. But the amount of content they're able to fit onto this disc is jaw-dropping. I could listen to this back to back to back to back 100 times and not get tired of it. The songwriting and the musicianship are just almost unparalleled. One of those bands that just kind of went under the radar, didn't get the love they deserve, at least not at this point. Hopefully they can keep on the right track and keep up the good work, because this is honestly a masterful album by them. I listened to this probably like a week straight without listening to anything else. It's just one of those albums that catches you and you can't give up. You can't give in. So yeah, go check out Crypteria. Again, link will be in the description. This next one is one that was recommended to me by my friend, the Guttural Monk, Pete, here on YouTube. He definitely sends me things that I should listen to, but for one reason or not, I don't, because they are on my radar. But this is Living Tomb by Ossuarium. This is on 20 buck spin. Like I told him, I feel like there are some labels that they should just have like a subscription service and you just get sent all of their material, because I feel like I just buy all the 20 buck spin stuff anyways. Again, this is kind of like a older style death metal with some like weirder undulating kind of songwriting. This doesn't necessarily do anything super spectacularly out of the box, but this is just another one of those bands that keeps the older school alive and kicking without making a lot of sacrifices to the production and the creativity. It's not like it's just a straight rip-off of any old bands or anything. It's its own beast, and this is one of those albums that I don't know any of the names of the songs to, because I'll just put it on and I'll just listen to it and I won't pay any attention to what's going on. I'll just enjoy it and let it do its thing. So yeah, go check out Living Tomb by Ossuarium. Another 20 buck spin home run. And these next two CDs are from the same band. This is one that I very recently discovered, and as soon as I heard it, I fell in love with it, and I had to order everything I could from them because I knew I was going to love this band. So I guess I'm going to start chronological order. So this is Order of Riven Cathedrals. It's kind of hard to read here. The Discontinuity is Interlude, I believe it says. Kind of hard to parse. It's in like a weird font. This is another one of those bands. It's very slightly hard to describe. I believe this is a one-man Italian band, and this is hyper brutal technical death metal with very slightly like almost symphonic stuff spliced in sometimes. Very, very slightly. But this is an incredibly impressive band that I don't remember how I came across this, but this is something. If there's one band you guys check out from this video, it's definitely this band. I have not seen anyone else talk about this. And this isn't super long, but the songs themselves have so much content crammed into them. I really like the compact songwriting. At least that's my mood anymore right now. It's not that I don't enjoy long songs, because that's kind of what, like, my bread and butter is. 10 minutes plus is my thing. But this isn't a long listen. Super duper fast drums, amazing guitars, just every single thing about this band, or about this project, just is classy, and also it just hits you right in your solar plexus of brutalness. And then I also picked up their newest work. Here's what it is. I don't really know how to say it. Yeah, we'll just do it right here. That's the title of the album. And here it is, laid out properly, I guess. I'm not even going to try to attempt it. This one is a little more tame, at least towards the beginning, and then the second half of the album picks right back up where this one left off. Just hyper blasting, horrifically brutal technical stuff, overwhelming sensory maximization. Just the artwork doesn't do the sound justice. I don't know if you'd really expect this kind of brutality from something that looks like this. But yeah, go check out Order of Arriving Cathedrals. For sure, go listen to that. And now this next one is one that I waited a long time for. It seemed like this was on pre-order forever, and I'm extremely happy with this album. This is involving a few musicians I have a lot of respect for, and I kind of just support whatever they do because I know they can do no wrong. But this is the new album from the band Akathexis, entitled, maybe just self-titled? I don't see a title on here anywhere. Yeah, it's 4 songs. It's about 40-some minutes in length. And the 2 notable musicians I'm talking about that are in this band are Jacob Bazarski from Maricognitum. I believe he does most of the instruments on this. Maybe. And also Dea. I don't know how to say his name, honestly. Yeah, I've never had to say it out loud, but he's in like a million bands. Dea. He's also in Malady, and also some KFR projects. And then there's the guy that does the vocals, Danny T. The vocals are what separate this album from so many other albums like this. It's extremely like brutal black metal, extraordinarily emotional, fast, punishing, and also it comes on this really gorgeous, like creamy, marbled, with a little bit of all the colors. I believe this was called like something, living something. But come on now, give me a break. Gorgeous color, great center labels. I listen to this a lot. I don't believe there is a CD version of this. I believe this is the only physical property that it has right now. But I listen to this a lot at work. Super fast, super emotional, not necessarily like technical or anything, but just super aggressive. Sorry I keep saying super. It's just like the first thing that comes to mind. But just atmospheric, slightly heavy, I guess, black metal that deserves all of your attention. You can't really do much else while you're listening to this, because you got to pay attention. So yeah, go check out Acathexis. 3 winners of members, so they can do no wrong. Just go listen to it. And this last one I have been waiting for a very, very long time. This is an album that I've been following the production to for what seems like maybe 2 or 3 years. I came across this band at a Beyond Creation concert here in Columbus, and I met a couple of the members from this band, and back then it was just like a random project that didn't have a whole lot going on. They gave me a promo that was just like handmade on a CDR, and now we're here. This is a band that's on the Artisan era now, with like 1 billion members. Ultra super band that has come so far from the early days that I've seen this band. I also have all of their other physical properties. They have an EP. Anyway, no further introductions. This is Equipoise with Demiurgin. This is one of the most complicated albums I have ever listened to. I probably listened to this 20 times before I ever really understood what I was listening to. This is like 6 or 7 or 8 members. Let me see if it's on here. Yeah, Stevie Boiser, Nick Padovani, Phil Tugis, Sanjay Kumar, Hugo Doyon, Korut, Jimmy Pitts, and Jason Westmoreland. Those are all of the band members. Here is a song list here. But this is a tech death album unlike pretty much any other tech death album I've ever heard. This is essentially like the quintessential tech death album. I don't remember what the name was on this one. Does it say on the... Yeah, this is the Insidious color. As for many Artisan era releases, they name their vinyls off of a song off of the album. This is a gorgeous color. This is the one I wanted. I immediately jumped on this when I saw the pre-orders go up. And the reason that this is such a complex album is that there is so many layers to this album. I've seen a lot of negative reviews for this album as well as a lot of positives, but the reason that people don't like this is because it sounds messy. The only time it sounds messy is if you don't necessarily know how to listen to it. I'm not trying to be like holier than thou, but you can't listen to all music the same. There are some things that you have to listen to selectively. But yeah, all the vinyl are not the same, obviously. I think this is probably my favorite side out of the 4. Just flippin' gorgeous. I mean, give me a break. Whoever makes the Artisan era vinyl are just killing it. There's a few more Artisan era vinyl I have coming here soon, including one very hype one. But anyways, like I said, you can't listen to everything the same. You almost have to pick and choose like an instrument at a time to listen to. It's like changing railroad tracks. Like, just listen to one thing and then listen to another thing. Try not to listen to it all as a whole, because then it sounds overwhelming and you can't understand what's happening. But there's so much happening on this album. The speed, the technicality, the songwriting, the camaraderie that happens on this album. There's 3 guitarists, a piano player, a drummer. Hugo from Beyond Creation is very far forward in the mix. So this is an extremely bassy album. There's a billion solos. I would love to see if there's an actual count to the notes on this album, because I cannot think of one offhand that an album has more notes played than this album. If you love hyper aggressive, slightly brutal tech death with some flamenco mixed in with it, like there's a couple songs mixed in that are just like soul songs. Like, they're not necessarily mixed in with the regular songs, but they're like interludes that are flamenco based, really groovy and ethnic sounding. Very synonymous with a lot of Phil Tugas's work. But anyways, go check out this album if you like tech death. If you like tech death, I assume you have already heard of this and made your opinion on this. But if you have not, take my word for it. Don't listen to this like you've listened to every other tech death album, because I don't believe you will like it. But if you listen to this differently, then it's almost hard not to love this. At least just appreciate the effort that went into this, because this was one of the most ambitious and complicated releases that there's ever really been that I can think of. I followed the production of this album, and it seemed like every other week or something there was like a new announcement that was like, hey, there's another huge name from the tech death community joining this band. I'm like, man, there's no way this is ever going to come to fruition and actually sound good, because there's just so much, there was so much going on that, like, how could they pull it off? And they actually did. So at least go give this a listen to form an opinion on. This is over an hour long. I want to say like 64 minutes or something. A trillion notes, the most notes I can remember in a long time. Go check out Equipoise with Demiurgus. I bought a lot of crap from this band. So yeah, that's going to be the last thing I'm going to show today. I guess I can also show that I bought the CD. Sure, it's just a CD. But yeah, go check out Equipoise and the Artisan Era. All of their bands and their roster are killing it right now. And that's going to be the end of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'm glad I can make longer videos now, so I can just rant and I don't feel like I have to shut up in the middle of my rant. So hopefully you enjoyed. Go check out these bands, and I'll see you next time. Mwah.